Good evening.
Evening all.
Dixon,
That's a throwback to Dixon Dot Green for the older viewers there. Yeah.
For the very older viewers.
The ancient ones, just like us. Yeah, yeah.
Jack Warner, wasn't it? Jack Warner.
It was indeed. It was indeed. Yeah, yeah.
You
Evening, everyone. Hello there. How you doing? Hope you're well. Yeah.
Well, there's a pregnant pause. Before we start, so I don't forget, we need, from our pre-record last week, which people seem to have enjoyed, so we really appreciate that. We had 3 super chats. 2 of those were from Lex, and 1 was from Jess. So thank you very much for those. Lex, he said he got his pre-order copy of Krull. And it's on general statement. He does like Krull, doesn't he? And,
he does. He does. He's a fan of that. Yeah.
So it was starring Freddie Jones, Ken Marshall, a very young Liam Neeson, Francesca Annis, Alan Armstrong, Robbie Coltrane, Todd Carty from Granger.
Did you know that Freddie Jones? I told this to JT that Freddie Jones is the dad of Toby Jones, who was in the post office scandal. Yeah, that's his dad. Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
I thought he was fantastic in Detectorists. Toby Jones.
Oh, he was, yeah. And his dad was great in The Ghosts of Motley Hall as well. There we are. The past, yes.
Wow. And
I can feel a tangent coming on, Ian. The tangent's coming on right now. We've just
already. And Jess, thank you. Wishing JT a good recovery. Tea and biscuits on me. Jess, that is lovely of you. Thank you. And mentioning JT.
Yeah.
We'll just start by saying that JT is obviously still undergoing his treatment. He has periods of chemotherapy, which is 5 days long, and they are allowing him to come out of hospital and then go back into hospital between his sessions. I mean, he only gets 3 or 4 days at home, but it just gives him that little bit of normality to adjust himself a little bit, and then he's back into it. But he's doing very, very well. It's taken an awful lot out of him, as it would, but he's doing well and is responding to treatment. That's the main thing. But
he was telling me he was managing to catch up with his season 20 box set, which is lovely. So he's got a bit of Doctor Who to catch up with. I'm sure he's enjoying that thoroughly. Yeah, one of his favorite seasons, I believe. So hope he's enjoying it still. Yeah.
So what's been going on then, Paul? Talk to me, Goose.
What's been going on? Well, I have to mention this. I'm very excited about this because obviously we got the announcement just recently that season 13 is coming out on the 20th of October. Yay! So I'm really excited about that. And in addition to my next question is, when's the next one coming out? Anyway, but that's just me. But
you just want everything all at once.
I do. My friend describes me as Bart Simpson in that episode. It says Mount Splashmore. That episode, are we at Mount Splashmore? Constantly nagging about when's it coming. Yeah, wishing my life away. But the thing is, it's interesting. But the BFI, I think this weekend had a screening of Terror of the Zygons. And I'm really jealous of the people who were there. I think they had that, and they had the documentary about Ian Martyr as well, which I'm really looking forward to. But
glad you got the right Ian there.
Yeah, and they had a lovely, lovely treat for everyone because they had a message from the man himself, from the Fourth Doctor, Tom Baker. And I'm hoping all our viewers have seen this. If you've not, go into YouTube after the show. And
definitely
have a look at the little message that he gave to the fans at the BFI, and it was wonderful. He was in character, he had the scarf on, he looked amazing, and he was his usual bonkers mad self. Wonderful stuff. I loved it.
I think it was a lovely little video, wasn't it? A lovely little video message, and he still has that ability. What will it be in January? 93? Will it be 93 in January or 92?
I think it's 92. I think he was born in 1934. I think that would be that make it 92. I think. Yeah.
He'll be
He had the
92 in
same.
January.
He had the same birthday, I think, as Prince Charles and my brother, which is weird. Anyway, but, yeah.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Well, he still has the ability to just command a room. He can just, when he came to York once, when he was to Waterstones, when he was advertising and doing the tour for his autobiography, he just
Great,
walked in.
great read. Yeah.
Oh, you're not kidding, but you sat there. Room is packed naturally. This is 1990 something, and this figure just, without any announcement, this figure just walks from the back. So I'm sat here, and he literally just walks. The aisle was there, and he walked past,
Yeah.
and then you realise, my God, he's here. He walked to the front, turned around, and bang, and everybody was just in the palm of his hand like that for well over an hour. It seemed to us that it was effortless, and you fast forward to nearly 92, and he's on a screen, and he's got that entire room in the palm of his hand, and he can just do it. He is the Doctor.
Oh
you
yeah.
know, and latter pretenders take note. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Well, wonderful video.
It was absolutely wonderful. That event where Who on Earth is Tom Baker? Did he have? I saw him at the Queen's Hall in Edinburgh, and he had this fantastic raincoat on that he used to wear quite a
Yeah.
lot, and he had a copy of the Times in his pocket often when he did that. And I wonder if he had the same outfit on. Probably that and the pinstripe suit was a favourite as well. Remember, so.
He did have, and I'm assuming it was the same raincoat. He may have had several. The raincoats are available, to quote you, Paul. But he did have the raincoat on, as the photos with him testify. But it was an amazing evening. But he just has that. He just has that certain something, that indefinable, almost alien quality that allows him to just step into that role and just do it.
I've got the autobiography, and I have the audiobook version of it, and they're both brilliant. But the audiobook's read by Tom, obviously, and when he reads it, especially all the more salacious bits in the book are hilarious because he loves every double entendre or single entendre in the book, and he milks it for all it's worth. It's wonderful. It really is. It's really nice. Yeah,
I'm sure there's probably the odd triple entendre in there as well.
I'm sure there is. Yes. But it was lovely when he delivered the wonderful giving fans in their seats prizes or gifts or autographs or whatever they were getting. He mentioned them, and he mentioned seats number K9. That was wonderful. That was so funny. Really good. Yeah.
I have the pre-publicity pamphlet. It's like a very glossy. Using my phone, I really shouldn't put my hands in the way there, should I? It's like a glossy booklet, very nicely printed and everything, which was the pre-publicity material that went out at the time. I've got one of those on my shelf, which is a treasured little item. And I also have the official poster as well. It's on a frame in my study, where I aren't at the moment. But I've had that for a long time.
Yeah, I wondered for a minute. I thought, had the Cybermen moved? Have they moved out and got a job? What happened? I was not sure, but what happened?
got my wife's painting of Albert on the
lovely.
wall. She's done the others around as well. Yeah. That is very Albert, right down to the tongue sticking out. Yeah, that's definitely
very cute. As you know, I'm a dog lover like yourself. I was going to say about the Who on Earth is Tom Baker. I think he did This Is Your Life at the same time, didn't he? Around at the same time, because they with Michael Aspel, and they actually caught him at a signing, and then they went back to the TV studio and did his life, which is wonderful stuff. Really good, lovely.
That's fantastic. I never really used to watch This Is Your Life. Obviously, they did Peter Davison as well and got him in the. Was it Trafalgar Square that they got Peter Davison?
It was. That's on YouTube as well. So dig that one out. It's great. It really is great. Yeah.
The Tom Baker one, where I know there's a video being circulating recently with the pub that his son has now. Is it in Nottingham or somewhere like that? I can't remember. But,
is that the one he keeps appearing when he does Tom Talks on the box sets? Is that his son's pub? Is it?
I think it might be. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. But when his son was on the This Is Your Life, and you just heard him. You know, like they sometimes did people doing an intro before they actually came through the slidey doors, and you would have sworn it was Tom Baker speaking at the time.
He does sound
just
very like him, doesn't he? Yeah.
And I think the story they gave was Tom was on holiday with his wife, and somebody had sent a bottle over or something, bottle of wine or whatever, and Tom was very humble and everything, but slightly embarrassed and didn't need to. And said, "No, I'm your son," because obviously they hadn't seen each other for quite some time. So it was just pure coincidence that they happened to be there. But incredible voice, just like his dad. Amazing.
Yeah. Now, so that was a real treat to the weekend. That really cheered me up. It was nice, and then having heard the news about season 13 coming next month, which is great. So that's lovely. So
it's nice to have that bumped up the schedule a bit, isn't it?
Yeah. Let's hope it's not delayed. What I did notice at the thing, I have to say, I'm very pessimistic about these things. Neil Cole, who runs the wonderful exhibition that he has, he had a fantastic. He was interviewed about the new Scarrison that he managed to repair and reconstruct.
Okay.
And he had it on. He had it actually at the BFI, and Mike Tucker was there. So I know Bed Weir was there as well. So maybe we can get a chance to, if we can get him for his busy schedule and get him to come in, and we can maybe do a visitations with him. That'd be lovely. We can maybe catch up and see what happened at the BFI. That'd be great.
I saw a photo with Neil Cole and a Scarrison, but there was another Scarrison model there as well. So there was two.
Yes.
And I presume one was the restored original, and one was probably a recreation for what I'm presuming they've done replacement effects again.
They have done on the Zygons. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And that's encouraging because maybe season 11, the dinosaurs might get that, fingers crossed, if they're doing it with the Scarrison. I know it's not in as much as the dinosaurs, but there's a great shot of Mike Tucker with his hand up like Sooty operating the Scarrison. It's fantastic. Great, yeah.
Just like they did with the Drashigs, isn't it, really?
Exactly. It's funny because the Drashigs, work really, really well. And if they could have done the Drashigs the same way with the dinosaurs, it would have been superb, but sadly not.
Yeah, I think they'd had somebody that sold them an idea that practically they couldn't deliver with dinosaurs, didn't they?
Yeah.
I think they managed to convince Barry Letts and Terence Dix that they'd look good.
Yeah.
And then the reality was not so good.
Sadly not. No. But I think it was like the Del Boy of the model makers got in there first.
It probably was. Yeah. Although I do think we do agree, don't we, that the close-up headshot of the T-Rex isn't bad at all. Actually.
Well, I like the T-Rex particularly, but also the pterodactyl I quite like as well. But I'm easily pleased, to be fair. Yeah.
So
I like Time
Flight.
I'll not go there. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, it could be worse. It could be worse. It could be Time Lash, couldn't it?
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Nobody mentioned Phil. So that was Tom Baker.
That was Tom Baker, yeah.
And the season 13 launch. Is anything else you're specifically looking forward to on the season 13 box set?
Well, I'm jealous of the people who are at the BFI today because the Ian Marter documentary, I'm looking forward to that so much because you don't know much about him. I know he's been in little interviews. He did a Mythmakers early on in the range, and he's done a couple of American TV kind of cable channel things, interviews, things like that. But you don't know much about him. So it sounds a fascinating, if probably moving documentary like the others they've done, like Graham Williams and Liz Sladen and J&T and stuff like that. I'm sure it'll be very, very moving. But I'm really looking forward to that. That's my one I'm mainly looking forward to on the whole set so far, I think, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's very sad. I really, really, really liked the character of Harry Sullivan. And I think Ian Marter played him to absolute perfection. I can't imagine anybody else in the role. I mean, it was just because he maintained his friendship, didn't he, with Nick Courtney, and he obviously maintained his relationship with Tom Baker as well, because they did all that preliminary work on the Scratchman.
Yeah, imagine if that was an actual movie and he was in it with Liz Sladen and Vincent Price, who was one of maybe the villain, allegedly. Whether that's true or not, who knows? But it's a lovely idea nonetheless.
It would have been great. It would have been great, I think. Yeah. All those things that could have been. I mean, there may be stuff about that on the DVD. Who knows?
I
On
like
the
that.
feature.
I hope so. That'd be great. Yeah. I've not actually read the Scratchman book or heard the audio book. Have you read it yourself?
Yes, I got the audio book, and obviously just Tom reading that, so it always has
Yeah.
that extra thing, doesn't it? When just
Yeah.
like the Target novelizations, I like the audiobooks of those as well. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
retreading parts of your childhood a little bit when
Yeah.
you read
Yeah.
when you hear those. And the ones that Tom's read, ones like Brain of Morbius and things like that, they're just absolutely wonderful. But it's a good book. It had been interesting to have seen what it would have looked like on film, but it was never to be,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is a shame, a real shame. But yeah,
Wasn't there a
yeah.
bit about scarecrows, as far as I remember, off the top
Mm.
of my head? And when I think about it, I think about those wonderful scarecrows in Human Nature, the Tennant story that they did, and they look great. If they were like that, it'd be superb, wouldn't it? You know?
Yeah, there are definitely
Yeah.
scarecrows.
Mm.
Lots of things.
Yeah.
There's also a Cyberman that pops up from time to time
All right.
that ends up not being spoilers, not being entirely a baddie at the end
Oh,
of the day. But not like Croton the Cyberman with emotions or anything like that. Just logically thinking that the logical thing to get out of this scenario is to not just try and kill the Doctor all the time. To try, it's
that
interesting.
that
But they,
that's a spin-off I would love to see. Croton the Cyberman. That'd be superb. What a great. I mean, I
don't
did quite
give
like. I
them
know this is
ideas.
unusual. Like I said, I know it's unusual to say this, but I quite like the Shard character in the Jodie Whittaker era, who's a half Cyberman thing. Although he's a
Mm.
villain, it'd be nice to see a Cyberman who was actually, like Croton, more human, and see how that worked. That'd be a quite interesting take on that. And they could have done a spin-off on that character quite easily, or Arms and Dark, or something like that, rather than this fishy thing coming up. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I this fish thing,
yeah,
absolutely. I mean, yeah, Croton the Cyberman was a fantastic character, as was Absalom Dark,
yeah.
Dalek Killer. The concept behind both of them was incredibly original, really, when you think about
Yeah,
it. When you think the
yeah,
time that they came out in the early 80s, the Cyberman with a soul still, which
yeah,
essentially would have been a faulty conversion.
yeah, yeah.
That entire concept, amazing and quite poignant in a way, wasn't it? Because he was in one of the stories, he arrived on a spacecraft called the Flying Dutchman, and everybody was in kind of time loop. It was within a
That's right.
cloud,
Yeah,
wasn't it? It was
yeah, yeah,
stopping
yeah,
time, and he got them out of the cloud, and everybody just aged to death,
yeah, yeah.
and he was just left realizing what he'd done, and then he just ran out of power, didn't he? And he was then just slumped in the spacecraft. So incredibly poignant, really,
Do you
for what was
remember?
essentially a kids' comic, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. Doctor Who, when it could be very adult, and it didn't talk down to kids, well,
Mm.
generally not. But so it's that kind of adult kind of context really good. But I was going to say I remember, was it the Next Doctor, the Christmas one, the one before Tennant left for the specials? There's a cyber leader in that has a black kind of visor, and it
Yeah.
looks like Croton, I think, don't you think, from the
Was
drawings?
it was it the same? Was it the same design as they had in the Matt Smith episode where Rory went onto the cyber spaceship to try and get
That's the one,
information about
yes.
aliens?
When
It's
they
the
do you
same
get the
design,
message
isn't
and the
it?
spaceships explode behind them. Yeah, those wonderful invasion spaceship they had as well, which was superb.
With this
Yeah,
with the rotating wheels
yeah, yeah, yeah,
amidships. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I think yeah. I always felt that the cyber leaders with just the black bars, like Earthshock, didn't
yeah.
quite carry the authority. Whereas in Revenge of the Cybermen, where it was the earmuffs and the top half of the head,
Right.
was much better, I thought. So when you had that cyber leader with this is supposed to be the triangle, by the way,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it did look a lot better, definitely.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
didn't that
yeah.
didn't that cyber leader have the brain on show as well,
Then the
like the
one, the
controller?
one, the one in the Next Doctor did. I can't remember if Good Man Goes to War. If that's the episode. If he did have that brain as well, or was
Yeah,
just
I can't
a helmet. I
remember.
can't remember that, but probably was. Yeah, yeah. But it's nice when they do sort of bits like that. You know, you think that's really good, and then they do something really bad. You know what I mean? But
If it was only the odd thing that they did really bad, but it's not,
exactly.
is it?
Yeah.
But an Absalom Dark. I mean, yeah. I mean, he's not your hero, is he? He's not your regular
Yeah.
hero.
Yeah.
He's this incredibly violent criminal who's captured and is either executed or exiled. Do they call it exiled DK for
Yeah.
Dalek Killer? I think
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
he was allowed to take all the weapons that he wanted and one personal possession, which was his chainsaw, which I suppose was like a poor man's lightsaber, wasn't it?
Kind of, yeah. So talking to Cybermen, just Dom goes mentioned they managed to get his B&M Revenge Cybermen, which is superb. That's really good. Yeah. Excellent
Got to
stuff.
go shopping yet. Got to go
Yeah, so
shopping
so
yet.
so do
But
I. Yeah. Have to get some. Yeah. They look
I think
great,
that's the
especially
thing
especially the
sometimes.
Cyberman looks superb. I have to say, yeah. So,
You want
yeah,
your if you like to build an army, you want your cyber leader and you want loads of cybermen, don't you? But then if you
yeah,
buy multiple packs, you get multiple cyber leaders as well,
yeah,
don't you?
yeah,
So
yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah. And
you
that's going to
either
just cause
accept it or get you. Of
troubles, isn't it? Yeah. There'll be
course it is.
lots of politics when you're playing with them. You know that kind of thing. Yeah.
Or do you just get your model paints out and paint them silver? Who
That's a
knows?
good idea. You could do that. Yeah, great idea. Yeah. Or
Sad as well,
make
really.
them all black and be like a stealth Cyberman for Attack of the Cybermen, like that, in the sewers, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Interesting concept.
Yeah, it could work. Yeah, it's a good way of recycling your figures, certainly. Yeah. So
So before we move off it, the
yeah,
season 13 DVD.
yeah,
I think I've no idea what's coming on it aside from obviously new effects for Zygons and the Ian Marter article. But
yeah.
I'm wondering, is there any other effects on other episodes as well, or are they all as they were? 'Cause I think Planet of Evil would probably benefit from something, because it was a very effects heavy monster, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see if they did something new for that, and it wouldn't necessarily be that complicated. But I don't know. I think it'd just be
Not not as far as I know, Ian. I think it's just Zygons, but I could be wrong.
okay.
As long as I said before, as long as it's an option only, and you can have either one
Oh
you
yeah,
want, and you don't have to lose the original. Because I
no.
got Star Trek original series with updated effects, and you can't change them on that. They're fixed on the set I got, which is a real shame because the original effects aren't that bad. You know what I mean? But they've updated them.
Mm.
Yeah,
I'm surprised. I generally like the new effects
yeah,
whenever they do them. I always have. I've always been keen on them. Even when, do you remember back in the day when they tried them out? I think one of the first ones they did was on the original Ark in Space release
yes,
when they
yeah,
did
yeah,
Space Beacon Nerva and stuff like that. Um, but I think it is important that you always have the option of having them as they were originally intended.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
that's showing respect to the original source material, isn't it? Really.
yeah.
But fantastic season, though. Can't wait.
Oh, looking
Absolutely
forward to it.
can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else we got? What else we got?
Well, there's one thing that another Radio Times article that came out regarding some repeats. Now, I don't know if you've heard about this, but this is really interesting. In the Radio Times article, it tells you about on BBC Three, I think starting sometime next month, they're having a starting repeating some of season five. That not the Towton version, but the
Mhm.
season five with Matt Smith, starting with 11th hour, and then following up on the same night, Beast Below. So I'm wondering if they're going to show a whole run of repeats on BBC Three. Why they're not going back to Rose, I don't know. I wonder why not. But so it's interesting repeating some of the better episodes from Modern Who on BBC Three. Have you seen that article yourself?
Just pulled it up now because you very kindly sent me the link. Thank you for that. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because I mean, even though it's on BBC Three, it would be
Mm.
highly amusing if it got bigger ratings than Gatwa or Whittaker did. That would be hilarious, I
Well,
think.
that's the thing. So I saw someone thinking it was on BBC One. I wish they had shown it on BBC One because I think it's on 7:10. I think that's just after BBC Three kind of starts screening programs. I think
Yes,
they start at
yes, it
7. I
is.
think.
Yeah, seven
Uh,
ten
uh,
p.m. Yeah.
yeah. So the thing about it is they weren't brave enough to show it on BBC One. But I would be intrigued to
I wonder
see
why.
what it would have done on BBC One, because this was very strong when it came back when Matt Smith took over from Tennant, and it did really well. So, like you, it would make me laugh if it got better figures than Shooty and Jodie. Yeah, yeah.
I don't think it. I mean, it wouldn't have to try very hard, would it? I
It
mean,
wouldn't. No, no.
the BBC has yet to reveal how long the run will continue and whether the channel will be showing all of Smith's first season as the Doctor, or perhaps even beyond that. Fans, that's both of them, are currently waiting to return to the Whoniverse for the war between the land and the sea. I bet they're really not.
They're not.
A brand new spin-off, which is set to air next year, after advertising it as if it was going to be this year. It's expected that is after that show airs that we'll finally get the news on the BBC co-production deal with Disney for the show. However, the broadcaster made it clear that Doctor Who will continue regardless of Disney's involvement. Well, that's the same old that we've always been hearing, isn't it? But Matt Smith back. I mean, it's interesting because, you know, you're talking now the best part of 14, 15 years ago. And things have moved on again. I mean, I remember feeling incredibly uncomfortable, even then, feeling incredibly uncomfortable when Amy went for the Doctor in a slightly sexual way at the end of the first episode. I mean, that would, even then, if that had been the other way around, I'm not saying that that's what the Doctor's character would have done, although with Moffat or any of this lot, who knows? But if
well,
that
he
had been a
almost
male
did in Rogue,
character
didn't he?
doing
Let's be honest. So,
well, yeah, but it was very uncomfortable watching Amy trying to do that, and it would, you know, nowadays certainly that would be probably classed as a sexual assault. So yeah, they're very dodgy, aren't they, these days? They might cut it out. Who knows?
well, that wouldn't surprise me. I saw an article recently with Don Warrington from Rising Damp, and apparently they're editing bits of that on some of the cable channels because people have found it offensive. And it's like, well, from his point of view, as a black actor, he didn't think anything was wrong with what was performed or done in the episode. So if he doesn't feel offended by it, why should anyone else? It's bizarre. Yeah, you know, weird.
Very good in Attack of the Cybermen. Very good in Rise of the Cybermen.
As the president, fantastic.
President.
Yeah.
I was hoping he would
have in Big Finish as well. Yeah.
Was he Rassilon in Big Finish? I'd forgotten.
He was. Yeah. Right. I think it was in Zagreus, I think, as well. A couple of episodes he was in. Yeah. Zagreus is best forgotten, to be fair.
Zagreus is where I tapped out at Big Finish. I'd got all of them up to that point. I got the 3 or 4. I think I got the first 4 Dalek Empires. I don't know if there was a 5, but I got the first 4 Dalek Empires and Doctor Who Unbound, the 6 releases there. But the regular releases I tapped out at Zagreus because it was just disappearing up itself even then, I think.
One of the Unbound ones I particularly liked was the Valiard one, mainly because it was all full of continuity references. I loved all that. But just with the Valiard, you know, undoing his own timeline, that was a fantastic idea. It was very clever. But I'd really enjoyed that one. And the one with David Warner and the Brigadier, the kind of like, it was like Mind of Evil, but done in a parallel universe, wasn't it? That was very good, that one as well. Yeah.
And of course, we had a female Doctor, didn't we?
So we did, yes. Yeah, that was a terrible episode.
I've forgotten the actor's name. Can't remember her at all.
She was in the Fast Show. I forgot her name as well. Yeah. I'm sure our viewers will remember who she is, but I forgot her name. She often said on the Fast Show, "Does my bum look big in this?" That was the lady who did that. But yeah.
I'd look it up if I gave a toss, but I don't. But it was definitely one of the weaker episodes, wasn't it? I remember there was a scene with her being drunk and belching and everything else. It was just like, that's probably where Russell T Davies got the Slitheen from and moved from there, really.
Probably. So I am surprised though that BBC aren't showing Russell episodes though. If that was such a good era, why they're not showing it from Rose up until, you know, up to the Reality War, that really awful episode when Billy becomes the Doctor. Oh God.
Let's not go there. But I mean, you know, that was supposed to be a golden era, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Eccleston through
yeah,
Tennant and to Matt Smith.
yeah,
But this is jumping straight in at the start of Moffat's reign
yeah.
and cutting him out completely. I mean, we could read between the lines. We might be reading between the lines and
Well, let's
thinking,
read between the lines. What do you think's
yeah,
going
okay.
on? Do you think? Let's speculate. Why not? That's why we're here. So, I mean, do you think he's alleged? This is all alleged, of course. That the BBC have
Of
fallen
course
out
it
with
is.
us all because he's left now and he's left Doctor Who. Fingers crossed, he may have done, and they're going to do it with someone else, and he's not involved. Perhaps we can't but hope.
It would be way too controversial to even begin to speculate. However,
Yes.
in the interests of fun, um, it would be sensible if the BBC put some distance between them and him.
Yeah.
I think he's toxic,
Yeah.
very toxic. I think David Tennant is very toxic, and it's probably best just forgotten. Really, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
surprised they're doing this. To be fair, because it's a very interesting jumping in point. If you're going to
Yeah.
repeat New Who at all, you would
Mm.
think they'd do it from the first series. Um, yeah.
It may have something to do with John Bannerman, perhaps. I don't know, because or Mr. Clark as well, because there's lots of chunks that are for the BBC, not for me, but BBC slightly problematic. So maybe that's why, perhaps allegedly.
As Woodhouse 122 has just agreed with you there. Yeah,
Yeah,
if they're including Noel Clarke and John Barrowman, then the BBC are probably just playing it carefully. I don't know.
yeah,
It's just, yeah, I don't know. But if I was the BBC, I would want distance between us and RTD, and he is definitely pinning his colours to the Channel 4 mast at the minute, isn't he?
yeah.
His
He certainly
rainbow
is. Yeah.
rainbow colours to the mast with his
Tips too. Yes, yes. More of that later, folks. Stay tuned. Yeah. So.
camel toe. Yeah, so I mean, but it's interesting. But then again, it does sort of like show that
Mm.
Matt Smith is still a very popular actor,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
he's not gone out of his way along with Capaldi. He's not. They've both of them haven't really gone out of their way to damage their brand, have they?
No, they haven't. No, no. I must admit, I was
So
quite fond of his Doctor, and for me personally, of the new lot, I think he's probably my favourite. I would say, definitely, because he had the real kind of character of the Doctor, had that lovely quirkiness, a la
yes,
Tom almost, which I really liked, and that was more eccentric. I always thought that David Tennant was a bit trying too hard a little bit sometimes, you know.
you would gurn too much with
Yeah,
David
yeah,
Tennant. I think right, trying too hard is probably a good term for it. But Matt Smith, yeah, he had that certain something. He carried it off,
yeah,
and I think he hit the ground running right from the very start. To be fair to him,
yeah.
I think some of the stories were quite convoluted,
Mm.
but he didn't suffer from that progressive, creeping wokery that unfortunately Capaldi suffered with,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
which was a real shame. A real shame. But yeah, popular Doctor, definitely.
And he
And
had
and
big shoes to fill, didn't he, as well, for
oh
through
yeah,
popularity. I mean, with Tennant, because everybody like Joe Public, I mean, loved Tennant, and he went down a storm, and he was the kind of, and still is, well, maybe not still is, but he was the kind of the Tom Baker of New Who, wasn't he? Really,
he was the
which I
benchmark,
don't,
wasn't he?
yeah, kind of thing. But I think Matt Smith really, really did the part justice. You know, for someone who was so young and so he didn't really know the show, he didn't grow up with it, but he watched some episodes. He's claimed that Tomb of the Cybermen was one of his favourite episodes. Loved Troughton, man of taste. So great actor.
Naturally,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because he wrote some story ideas, didn't he? Was he meeting Einstein or something like that? Did he do write a little story about the Doctor meeting Einstein or something like that?
Was that done by some like a school or something, like
I,
a
I
writing
thought he
opportunity?
I thought when he was cast before he actually was filmed in anything, he was
Oh,
he was
really?
really getting into it by
Oh,
suggest either writing little things or suggesting things. I know there was a writing thing as well involving schools, but I
yeah.
thought Matt Smith had written something as well. I don't know, might be wrong.
Because there
Might
was
be
like
wrong.
a mini episode that he meets Einstein in the TARDIS, and Einstein comes in,
Mm.
he's blown up something, and his hair's all over the place, and he's got soot on his face, and he's done something. And the Doctor's trying to help him. It's all done in the TARDIS, and the actor who plays Einstein. I've forgotten his name, but he played the Sheriff of Nottingham in A Robin of Sherwood. I've forgotten the actor's name now.
Okay. I vaguely remember that. I vaguely, not Robin of Sherwood. I vaguely remember the little scene with Matt Smith. He
So
did
I
a
don't
few,
know.
didn't he? He did some stuff with Brian Cox as well, didn't he? Was it
Yeah,
around and who else did he do it with? Around an awards show. Oh, what's he called? He did a lot of the experts.
Dermot, what's his face? Yeah, he went to Coronation Street, so it's about like Dimensions in Time all over again, right up my street. Yeah, yeah. No pun
Because
intended.
Dimensions in Time is canon, isn't it,
It is
Paul?
canon now. Yeah, yeah. According to Russell T Davis, it is. Yeah, yeah. So that
Yeah,
means
but he
nothing.
doesn't care. Matt Smith. It'll be good to see him on telly again, though.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not going to do any harm to the Doctor Who brand, but then again, it's at rock bottom anyway, isn't it? Really.
yeah.
But it
But
would be immensely funny if the rating. We'll have to get Bedweer onto it and see
we
what the
will. Yeah, I was going to say that.
BBC
Yeah,
Three
yeah.
BBC Three ratings are. That'll be. So if you're watching Bedweer, please keep an eye on that and let us know what they get.
Because it would be really interesting. Because it used to make me laugh sometimes, even with classic Who in the 70s, they might repeat an episode and sometimes it's better in repeat than it did on the actual broadcast. So we'll be interested to see how well it does and what is the kind of the norm for high viewing figures on BBC Three, and if it's up there with the kind of good viewing figures. I hope it is. Yeah.
Do you think the BBC are doing it to see how viable Doctor Who would be to continue it without Disney on their own?
Possibly. Unless I think of bringing Matt Smith back. God, good God.
Oh, no, no,
As much as I love Matt Smith, don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, yeah,
no. I don't think
yeah,
he needs to be doing that, does he?
yeah.
No, no,
Like I said
no.
before, I think even if they brought Tom Baker back, even now, or even in the 80s, when they thought, I think they're going to bring Tom Baker for the TV movie and start afresh. I would have hated that as much as I love Tom. It needs to move on. It really does, you know.
Yeah. Well, Doctor Who always reinvented itself, didn't it? It rarely went back. Apart from Returning Monsters or The Master, it
Yeah,
rarely referenced previous stories.
yeah, yeah,
Where it's got overly referential since, hasn't it? Really,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I used to love. Just before the 2 weeks before Doctor Who would come back. Classic series, of course. And it would generally start during the September, wouldn't it? Be like first Saturday in September,
yeah,
as a rule. So you knew back end of August, you were probably going to get some repeats.
yeah,
And it was
yeah,
great. It was
yeah.
great. Seeing City of Death again or Pirate Planet. It was just exciting the fact that it was on telly again. I love those repeats,
Well, I
as
used
well
to.
as the unexpected ones, like going back a bit and getting Sea Devils when Grandstand got cancelled and
Yeah.
things like that.
I actually think I must have seen. That's probably why I think I like Sea Devil so much. It's one of my favourite Pertwee stories, or favourite Doctor Who stories in general, to be honest. I think I've seen it original broadcast and probably the repeats, and then back in '93 as well when it was repeated. So I know the story very very well. So I loved all that too. It was great. But in terms of, I love that trailer from Destiny where Tom is sleeping. You hear the Doctor in the TARDIS, and there's a Doctor awake and all that kind of stuff. Is brilliant. And you hear him snoring, and he comes out, speaks to the voice. It forewarns him about the Daleks coming, and he goes at the TARDIS and puts the sign up, "Do not disturb till September." I loved all that. The idea that the Doctor hibernates for like 4 months is wonderful. I love all that. It's such a silly idea.
Does he not? Does he not? Does the voice not say the Daleks? And he goes, "Never heard of them." Who?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
that's just Tom Baker, though, isn't
yeah,
it? That's just.
yeah. Great stuff. Yeah, really great stuff. But that trailer is one of my favourites, and just doing it in character. It's like I think on the same season 17 box set there's a clip on Animal Magic when he appeared on that, and he talks about all these different monsters and aliens he's encountered, and
Yeah.
he just makes shit up as he's talking. It's wonderful. He's improvising the entire thing. It's wonderful. Really good. Yeah.
They probably just asked him if he could do it, and he just went straight into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's Tom, isn't it? And Stephen O'Neill, your comment there, yes, I do. I do genuinely think that's probably what they're doing, putting Matt Smith on to test the water and to see if there is any public appetite. But they will probably misread any signs, because some people will watch Matt Smith just because it's Matt Smith, and they enjoy it, and he's a very good actor to watch. And they would probably just interpret that as, oh, it's popular again, and it's not. I think, as we've all said on numerous occasions, and I think most of us still hold to, certainly here in Who's Views, would say that it needs a break. It needs a break. People are right royally sick of Doctor Who, and nobody really enjoys it. I think a lot of the people watching Gatwa's stuff were like people driving slowly past a car accident, just rubbernecking to see how bad the accident is.
That was me. That describes me perfectly, because thinking about it, it's awful. But I can't believe they had such a massive, for me personally, such a massive misstep with Gatwa. It had so much potential with all the money and everything they had with it, but they never got the writing right or the character right. So it's their own fault,
Well, it wasn't just the misstep with Gatwa, was it? It was like Whittaker was them falling off the ladder and landing on a table or something like that. And Gatwa was rolling off the table and hitting the floor. Because it just, you can't, well, I say you can't get any worse, but they still manage it, don't they?
They managed it really well to make it worse than what the Jodie era was, and how they could do that, God knows.
Yeah, but they did, they pulled failure out of the jaws of catastrophe.
Because you think with Disney's input and the money and everything, they could have made it such a. I mean, I know people say that Doctor Who doesn't need to be big budget; it needs to have credible effects and a good story. But the good story has to come first,
I think when classic Doctor Who was parodied or ridiculed or just generally made fun of, it wasn't the stories, it wasn't the scripts, it wasn't the plots. It was never that. It was always the wobbly sets, and it was always the, you could see the spaceships were on strings and all that kind of thing. It was never about the scripts. Whereas New Who, especially in the later years, it's done a flip, hasn't it? It's the scripts, the stories, the plot lines, where there were plots at all, were the things that deserved the ridicule, and the effects were there because they had the money for it.
But I do think, though, even New Who, I mean, I think Doctor Who effects and Classic Who, I think some of them, quite a lot of them, are really good for the time. It's just they've not dated very well. But I think the same will happen to New Who, and it already has happened to New Who, because if you look at season 1, for instance, going back 20 years, that already looks dated and a bit wobbly. You know what I mean? So everything dates. So it's how you accept that being either practical effects or CGI, whatever, good or bad, and you try and take that on board when you're watching it, and you have to suspend disbelief,
Doctor Who, classic Doctor Who, we all know never had loads and loads of money, but the certain things that they always seem to do really well, without trying. I've got a little dog scratching at my leg. So now you're on screen twice now, Albert, because you're there and your picture's there. Sorry, I can't concentrate when you're scratching at my leg.
It's okay, I can't either, so I'll just look at your dog now. You have to keep talking. I shut my one out just so he wouldn't come in and annoy me, because he'll just keep pressing against me and stuff and having a drink and stuff,
Edith's over there. She's being very, very quiet, but Albert wants attention. So here we are. Albert gets attention.
Mine's not the same. If you're on the telephone, it's like, speak to me. It's like that, yeah. Same kind of thing, yeah.
I think you look at things like Terror of the Zygons, for example. The Zygon spaceship coming out of the water is superb. The explosion of the Zygon spaceship is superb. The explosions of the base at the South Pole, in Seeds of Doom, episode 2, is superb. The destruction of the pirate captain's base at the end of Pirate Planet is fantastic. You know,
Yeah.
the explosions at the end of Horns of Nimon, they always do stuff like that really, really, really well. Those kind of effects.
Yeah.
It's when they try and do when they try to do the old the spaceships and things like that,
Yeah.
or planet scenes. A lot of the times, it just fell flat, didn't it? But that amount of money that they had, especially with Disney, was you still to this day can't see where any of that went.
No,
Really,
no. If you, I don't want to talk about it in too great detail, but that episode was the one set in the barber's shop. That looked like it was done on a shilling. To be honest, it was like there's no money spent on it at all. You know.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's not. Yeah, it just makes you feel ill, doesn't it? I mean, it was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
such a wasted opportunity. But it all was, and we've said it ad infinitum, and we don't want to bore people, do we? But it
No.
really was. It was depressing. What's that from Stephen? Classic Doctor Who. Sorry, I'm watching this on a phone, by the way, so broadband issues. So this is really, really very small. Classic Doctor Who hardly mentioned the year it was set in, unlike New Who, which even mentions the year. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
which just dates it. Absolutely. Yeah.
And with all
Yeah.
the cultural references, you know, like Kylie or Brittany or
Yeah.
whatever, or you know, Trinny and Susanna or Anne Robinson, all that kind of stuff. That just dates it, you know.
The only real time that you should be referencing actual years in Doctor Who is when you do historicals, for
Yeah,
obvious
yeah.
reasons. You know, that it doesn't matter when that you've got an immutable date set for that, you know, because it makes sense. It's part of the plot.
But
But
it got really cliched, don't you think? And New Who, when every like I think it was the last one that Jodie did, every other scene was the date and the place coming up. You know, it was like a parody of itself. It really was. It was just incredible.
that's
You know?
often what
Yeah,
that's often what American dramas are like, though, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
They'll say London, England, because you know a lot of the time they don't give people the credibility of knowing where a country
yeah.
or where a city is in relation to the world and everything else.
Well, they
But
did they did that in the War Games, the re-edited version, where there's constant shots of the exterior of the warlords' kind of base or whatever, you know. And it's like, well, why are you doing that? You don't need to keep establishing where it is. We're not stupid, really. It's like,
well, you know, it's the BBC. We are the great unwashed at the end
yeah,
of the day, so they probably do think we're stupid, to be quite honest.
yeah, yeah. So, well, here's hoping that they'll get good viewing figures for the Matt Smith run, and then it might come back under new a new controlling executive. Hopefully, it will do, and not Russell T Davies. That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we want to see no more of that man, none at all.
Although we are probably going to talk about him now, though, aren't we? Because we've got another article that was seamless here. Did you notice how seamless that was? Beautifully
That
done. Yeah.
was incredibly edited there. I'm just
Yes.
going to
Yeah. Yeah.
pull that one up as well.
That'll teach Mr. Cook a lesson there. So, so yeah, in terms of editing. But yeah. So yeah, seamless.
So
Yeah.
this one is an article with radiotimes.com, which you also sent me the link for, which is very much appreciated. Doctor Who showrunner Russell T Davies is set to be honoured with the award. Now we spoke about him getting an award. Just
Yeah.
where are you going? Do you not realise people are watching you? Come on.
You've said the R word and he wants to leave. I can understand why. That's fine.
I can't blame him.
Normally it's probably
Sorry.
the W word and he wants to go somewhere, but it's the R word now.
I'll
Yes.
try not to mention Russell T Davies too many times. All right, I'm sorry.
I'm going now. I'll see you later.
Doctor Who showrunner Russell T Davies is set to be honoured with the award for outstanding contribution to television by BAFTA Cymru. The Welsh writer, who has also penned TV hits including Queer as Folk, Years and Years, and It's a Sin, will be presented with the award on 5th of October. The exciting news was announced in an Instagram post from BAFTA reading, "We're delighted to announce that writer, producer, showrunner, and all-round Big Ed, Russell T Davies, OBE, will receive this year's Outstanding Contribution to Television Award. Russell's impressive body of work has helped place Wales firmly on the world stage." Davies said, I'm not going to try the voice, "Receiving this Outstanding Contribution Award is an honour. It means people have watched something and remembered something that you've done. Oh, we remember it, all right, Russell.
Yeah, how could we possibly forget? Oh, and by the way,
It's
did he
not.
write Queer as Folk? Did he? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
apparently it did. Yeah, and
That's
then there's a photo of
almost
him.
as subtle as Bill being a lesbian. That is, to be honest. But yeah.
There's a photo of him sat there in an office with an incredible smug look on his face. And to be quite honest, I can't stand looking at it. So
Yeah.
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 So that's another award, because we mentioned the last live show that we did a couple of weeks ago. He was getting an award, wasn't he? Was that Pink News who was awarding that? I can't remember. He seems to be awarded with something every other week, and I think it's just for the sake of it, isn't it? They'll just invent another thing to give him an award for.
Yeah.
And it's just painful. You would think, and Lorraine's made a very good point there. How many writers do they have from Wales now? Just the one, seemingly. Yeah. I think if you're a struggling writer or an aspiring writer for television or radio in Wales, you probably feel like Russell T Davies is sucking all the oxygen out of the room, really.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to say that. I was going to agree with Lorraine there, because there must be other people who have written stuff in Wales, even not just aspiring writers, people who are probably established, but are getting overshadowed by him. And he didn't. It wasn't just him that made Doctor Who a success. Particularly, he was he was lucky. He had a good team writing that first season.
He was very lucky, and as we have said on many occasions before, pretty much the majority, if not all, arguably all the really, really, really good episodes from those early years of Doctor Who were not written by him.
No.
They were written by other people. Some that wrote episodes so good, like Rob Shearman with Dalek, never to return.
Yeah.
You do sometimes think, does he think that these other writers, these really good writers, are a threat to him, so they don't come back or anything else? But I think all the better episodes he didn't write. He'll try and take credit for, of course, but he didn't write at all.
No, I mean, I wish Rob Sherman had come back, because I think he's really good. And he's done lots of other writing in theatre and stuff, and some great Big Finish stories as well. And he's really good, and it's such a shame that he didn't come back for season 2. It's a no-brainer, really. But
and Gareth Roberts, somebody else who just disappeared from Doctor. Obviously, there were reasons, we know that, but it's ridiculous, really. You get people of that degree of talent that understand the subject matter and can write original storylines that are really, really good and engaging. Yeah. And Rob Shearman's Dalek was a superb episode. It really was a superb piece of TV. It really brought the Daleks back and made them a real threat again before RTD went and trashed them all again.
Yeah.
And everything that Gareth did. I don't think there's a Gareth Roberts episode that I didn't really, really enjoy at all.
My least favourite one's probably the one with Capaldi, the one with the caretaker. I'm not so keen on that one, but the rest of them I love. Yeah.
The one with Agatha Christie.
Yeah.
Unicorn. It was.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you to Lex Kane, by the way. I'll jump in with that before I lose it on this very, very small phone screen. I've been watching 5 episodes of Department S. Is that Jason King?
Have you got to the episode with Patrick Troughton in it? I don't want to spoil it for you. But that, when you see it, your sides will be splitting. It's hilarious, I have to say. Have you seen it? I don't want to give too much away to spoil it for Lex, but it's a very funny episode. Yeah.
Peter Wingard, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
As Jason King. Yeah. With the big wing collars and mustache. Yeah. And Planet of Fire, Peter Wingard.
Yes, the very same. Yeah.
Wow, Patrick Troughton.
He's also the main.
He got about a bit, Troughton, didn't he, on telly?
Well, he's in everything. He's in lots of 60s shows, in The Saint, Danger Man, all that kind of stuff. He turns up everywhere. Likewise, Roger Delgado, he's in all these series as well.
Oh, Delgado, yeah.
I did see one bizarre one on cable was a Radon Hot Cup episode, and David Jason turned up. That was really weird.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird.
I know
Yeah.
Nick Courtney occasionally turns up, as does Pertwee,
Yeah.
and Anthony Ainley. Seen him in a few things, but quite a few films as well.
Yeah. I saw him in Doomwatch the other night. There was on Talking Pictures TV, and he had a small part as a doctor in it. It was quite interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
But he was just like my master, to be honest. He was exactly the same, but he was lovely to see. But yeah.
And another one from Lex. Thank you again, Lex. That's very kind. Jason King was like James Bond. Yeah. He was like a James Bond type, and very stylistically. I mean, obviously dropped the mustache, but stylistically, he was very flamboyant, like Pertwee, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, he was a bit like forgotten the what's the character called? Oh God, I've forgotten the film, the American movie. There's two of them. What's it called? I've forgotten the spoof that they did. Austin Powers. Yeah, that's what I couldn't figure out what it's called. Yeah, he's very like Austin Powers. The way he's dressed is very similar. The frills and the velvet jacket. It's kind of Jimi Hendrix and Austin Powers-esque kind of thing, isn't it? That kind of thing. Yeah.
But of course, in the era that this was made, it was actual fashion, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas Austin Powers was that 90s? Was that 1990s? It was definitely being spoofed then, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
But it was good.
Yeah.
Good fun, all the same. Blimey. So what else we got in the chat? We've got a lot of people in the chat. This is fantastic. Like I say, it's very tiny screen for me. Sliver Wolf. It's just moved up. Fashionable for the time, Jason King. Absolutely was. Sliver Wolf. Yeah, he did pull it off though, didn't he? He'd often have the shirt virtually unbuttoned all the way down to the navel, wouldn't he? And a massive medallion as well.
Yeah.
Mind you, there was some fantastic TV in the 60s. I thought, with things like the original Avengers and the Champions and stuff like that.
I agree with what John's saying. He's in Flash Gordon. He's the one of the villains in it. I think he's Emperor Ming's right hand man, the one with the mask, kind of almost Darth Vader-esque, but a gold mask.
Yeah, he cuts right at the end, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Slime comes out of the eye sockets of the mask, don't they?
That's the one. Yeah. He's got a great voice. He's very, very sinister in that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Cletus or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. Bizarrely, Robbie Coltrane's in that movie, and he's in it at the very, very start. There's a bit where Flash gets on a plane at the start, and Robbie Coltrane, I think, is the pilot, or he's the chauffeur that drops him off, something like that. But he's got a tiny, tiny part. I think got one line or something, and he's in that as an early film role, which is interesting.
Robbie Coltrane for me peaked with Nuns on the Run.
Oh right, yeah. That's a very funny film with Jackie Tyler. She's in that as well.
Camille Kaduri, she's in that. It's a real. Yeah, I would strongly recommend people look up Nuns on the Run.
It's a very funny film. Yeah.
She plays a girl that's very, very short-sighted, doesn't she? And has a habit of walking into lampposts and things like that.
Yeah.
Really funny film. Really funny. Eric Idle as well, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, they're both kind of criminals, aren't they? And they get caught. A job fails or something with a gangland boss, and they're on the run basically, and they have to be disguised as nuns. So I've just spoiled the entire movie, but it's worth seeing, so nonetheless.
They hide out in a nunnery, don't they? They hide out in a nunnery, which is why. And Robbie Coltrane is the experienced, for want of a better term, Catholic.
Yeah. Yes.
And he has to sort of like advise Eric Idle on all the bits. Now I remember spectacles, testicles, wallet
and watch. Yeah. I still do that before I leave the house, I must admit. Yeah.
Marie UK, thank you for your super chat. Is RTD trying to convince himself? Because I'm not. Very good, Marie. I think he is. Yeah. I think he's I think he's been delusional for years, to be fair. I think he's definitely I think he's more convinced of his talent than we are. But we've got to see how this fish thing turns out next year, haven't we? Because it might be, if they're holding that back until next year, do you think, Paul, it might be appearing on TV roughly around the same time as Camel Toe does on Channel 4?
Probably. Yeah. It's his last ditch attempt to be popular. That's the
Yeah,
thing. So, yeah.
I yeah, I can anticipate that failing catastrophically, and I
Well,
have to be honest, I would love that.
I don't think Channel 4's ratings generally are that great for many things, are they? To be honest, as far as I'm aware, I mean, not the same scale as they should be. You know, like major
Mm.
kind of like BBC One and ITV kind of thing. They're not as big as those two
Yeah.
channels, are they? Really? So they don't do that well, do they?
No, they don't. And let's be honest. Nowadays, unless it's Christmas and they pull a blinder like they did with Wallace and Gromit and Gavin and Stacey
Yeah,
last Christmas. But on the whole, they've got very few surefire ratings winners, and what they have got have been very much under fire recently, haven't they? So you look at BBC, what have they got really, apart from Strictly, to be
yeah,
quite honest?
yeah,
And that's had a lot of bad press, hasn't it? With that various claims that woman that was in Sherlock made, and
yeah,
then the guy that was the Go Compare adverts, he got into some controversy as well, didn't he?
yeah. I
And it was
noticed.
damaging the brand.
I've noticed with a Doctor Who connection, Alex Kingston is now in Strictly, and I'm waiting for her scandal to kick off in the next few months, and then she'll be cancelled. There we are. So no more River Song. Yay! Thank God for that. Yes, that's
Do you think that they will do? Because occasionally they do themed songs, don't they? And they've done Doctor Who themed songs
yeah,
before. Do you
yeah.
think they'll do something with her?
They're bound to. They're bound to, aren't they? Especially for repeating her episodes as well at the same time.
Yeah,
That's yeah,
that's a thought. That's a
yeah.
thought.
Because I remember
Alex Kingston.
they did some one on. I don't watch it. I see it now and again. I've seen clips where they do Doctor Who ones on YouTube, but they did a Doctor Who themed one, like almost like a tango or something like that. But then they had someone dressed as Jodie, which is a bit, So yeah, and they come dancing out of the TARDIS, and that kind of stuff. Dreadful, dreadful. Yeah,
I was talking to somebody this week, a work colleague, and their parents are friends with some people in their city where they live, which is Sheffield, and they're friends with the parents of Mandip Gill.
Oh, really? Right. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So naturally, they try not to broadcast that because obviously of the association with Jodie Whittaker. But yeah, that came out of nowhere in a work conversation last week.
Wow. Wow.
We know
Because
somebody who was in Doctor Who.
she's a known a sitcom, I think, with Dawn French. I saw that's coming soon, and which is surprising. Um, And Jodie Whittaker is all over the television at the moment. I don't know if you've seen trailers for various things, but she's in 4 or 5 different shows at the same time. Lots of trailers on ITV for various things, and she's in a drama, like a heist drama, like hustly type thing with Saran Jones, which is coming soon as well. So she seems to be strangely in demand. I'm not quite sure why.
No, me neither. Do you remember when Peter Davison was on in literally everything? Because he had All Creatures going on, and he'd gone back into that, hadn't he? Because they stopped All Creatures for 2 or 3 years and then started it
Yeah,
again. And
yeah,
he was, I think, still in Doctor Who
yeah,
in his last season, and he was in Sink or Swim, and he had Button Moon, and he had all this stuff. The difference between him and Jodie, of course, was the stuff that he was in. People enjoyed watching because I thought I remember thinking, Sink or Swim was. I really
yeah,
enjoyed that. That was
yeah.
good comedy.
Mhm.
Just did a couple of first season set in Newcastle, I think, and then they did what the
With
BBC
Robert
always do.
Glenister, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Then
yeah,
move it down to London, and then he met Robert Glenister again in Caves of Androzani, didn't he?
yeah, yeah. And he was doing at the same time, wasn't it? Holding the fort or something. So it was Doctor Who, Sink or Swim,
That's it.
Holding the
Yeah,
Fort, and
yeah,
sometimes All Creatures Great and Small as well. Yeah. So
yeah. And then he went off all that and did Campion, didn't he? Was that
well,
Campion
before
after
that, he
that?
did one of my favourite shows I've got on DVD. As a Very Peculiar Practice, a wonderful show. Love that. And when I
Absolutely batshit, wasn't it? It was
yeah,
batshit.
and he was brilliant because he was the sanest character in it. He played it so well. And you had David Troughton, who was a bit barky mad, Graham Crowden, fantastic, Barbara Flynn, all great actors, but they're all insane, and he's the same person in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Wonderful performance, really lovely.
All set on. It was a medical practice on a university campus, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah, yeah. and they had some really bizarre cutaways with nuns running about, rummaging the bins and stuff like that. Just really odd. Yeah,
Yeah, they were just they
yeah,
never spoke, did they?
yeah,
They
yeah.
never spoke. And then you just saw them running away into the sunset with one of the other characters at the end, didn't you?
Peter Davison's character was called Stephen Dacre, and he suffered from severe anxiety, and he
Yeah.
had lots of nightmares, and you got a lot of flashbacks of nuns doing things round the campus and stuff like that. It's hilarious stuff. Really, really well written. Yeah.
Hadn't his character not come out of a bad relationship or something? And there was he got together with was there a Polish woman?
Yeah, that was the second series. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, very peculiar practice. Really. Whose Views recommends very
Yeah, oh
peculiar
yeah.
practice.
Get
If
it
you
on
can,
DVD. That and Private Schultz, which is another favourite of mine, that was produced by Philip Hinchcliffe and stars Ian Richardson and Michael Elphick, and it's set during the Second World War, and it's about the Germans flooding the economy with fake fivers. It's hilarious, brilliant drama, really good. Yeah,
Private Schultz was really, really good. I remember
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Did they blow up a public loo or something like that? Was
Yes,
that
they
where the
do.
money was
Yeah,
hidden?
because yeah, it's funny. They're trying to. Schultz goes back to England after the war to find these big canisters that are full of money, old fake fivers. But they're really well done because they get these amazing forgers to redo them and they get the code from the Bank of England, everything. They do all the research for it, but it's got like a timer on it. So if people tamper with it without the correct combination, it explodes. And somebody chucks the cylinder to try and get on the back of a van to escape, and it explodes, and the toilet goes up as well. Yeah, so it's wonderful stuff. Yeah, yeah,
Like you say, Mr. Philip Hinchcliffe,
yeah, yeah.
arguably the most fantastic producer that Doctor Who has ever had.
Sorry, Ian, did we just miss a super chat there from Mark? Was it Mark? Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I think we did. Mark Greaves, yes. An
yeah.
actor dies and goes to heaven. An actor dies and goes to heaven. He meets Peter Cushing and J&T. Suddenly RTD flies by. I didn't know RTD was dead, said the actor. He's not, said J&T. That Scotty likes to pretend he's RTD. That's genuinely funny. Thank you, Mark.
Brilliant, thanks, Mark.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you. But Philip Hinchcliffe, yes, I think, although my era is, and I think I said this in our unit pre-record from last week, although my era is very much John Pertwee and everything, I think you'd be hard pushed to say that the best producer of Doctor Who was anybody other than Philip Hinchcliffe.
Yeah,
to be honest, who I've got to be honest, name drop, I am meeting next week. So, la-di-da and all that.
Well, say hi. Yeah.
Oh, he'll remember you because
he will. Yeah, he's probably watching right now. To be fair, yeah.
Well, he's probably met Paul McGann numerous times, and Paul McGann's always saying, "Did you know that I've met Paul?"
Yeah,
so,
he's often saying that. Yeah. I've paid him to say that as well. That's fine.
I will say hi. Hopefully, I'll be able to do a visitations on that as well.
So who's going to be at this convention you're going to? Not too many spoilers. We'll chat about later about, but yeah.
Yeah, but there was going to be, and I'm sure she's watching, but there was going to be Wendy Padbury, but Wendy can't go because Wendy Padbury has broken her arm, as I understand it. So huge sympathies to Wendy, and I hope everybody at Whose Views hopes that you have a very speedy recovery.
Yeah.
But thank you for your hotel room because I've got it. Yeah, I know, la-di-da.
Wow.
So yeah, but yeah, there's Philip Hinchcliffe. Fraser Hines is there. They have got somebody from the new era in as an additional guest, and it's Susan Twist.
Oh.
So,
well, get her autograph. Will you do that for me? No, I'm kidding. No, don't.
I might do it now just for badness. Look, record a little hello just to Paul at Whose Views from.
I mean, to be fair, to give her the benefit of the doubt, she's not a bad actor, but she's just in a really bad season of Doctor Who. Yeah, but
not at all. I just, a lot of people were potentially good actors or were good actors that were just served
Yeah.
really badly in that Doctor Who rubbish. But it's
Yeah.
not their fault, is it? You know, they've all got to make a living at the end of the day. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. But I'll get lots of photos and some video, and we'll do a visitations on that. But I
That'd be
am
lovely, yeah.
so looking forward to meeting Philip Hinchcliffe. I met Terence Dix. Obviously, never got the chance to meet Robert Holmes because he passed away before. I think I was still at school, so you know, wasn't as mobile as you can be when you're an independent adult.
Yeah.
But always wanted to meet Barry Letts and didn't get the opportunity. There was something potentially on the cards, and unfortunately, he passed away, which is a real shame. But you know, people like Richard Franklin, lovely man. Met him, as obviously quite a few people have, and obviously now he's sadly passed away. But Philip Hinchcliffe is, yeah. If you said to me somebody from Doctor Who that you'd really want to meet, it would be Philip Hinchcliffe.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's going to be tick that one off the list.
I was lucky enough to meet Terence Dix a long time ago, back in '83, the same year when the Five Doctors was coming out, and I asked him this really stupid question: how he came up with the idea of bringing all the Doctors together, and he said, "Well, I can't really tell that because I'm a real spoiler." I thought, "Well, duh," but. But I thought I may as well chance my arm, you know, because it was really lovely to meet him. And my mates met him several times. He used to come to his school, and he'd visit the schools and go around and promoting, you know, various books he'd written and stuff like that. So particularly Doctor Who. And as you remember, as a kid, the school library would have lots of Target books as well. If you wanted to borrow them, I'd have to make sure I could get my mum to buy them for me in the first place. But yeah, but. Although people used to allegedly steal library books and hardback versions, particularly from their school libraries. Not me. I'm just saying that now. But,
no, me either. But yes, you're right. I've heard that too. Never had a Target hardback in my life. Never had one. Got all the paperbacks, but never had a hardback at all. No.
Some of the hardbacks are really hard to come by, I believe, as well, aren't they? They're quite rare, some of them. Yeah.
Quite
Especially
valuable.
the '60s ones, you know, the Zarbi and the Crusaders and things like that, the hardback originals.
Actually, no, I tell a lie. I have one hardback Doctor Who book. I do. I was lying. I have the hardback of the original Zarbi.
Oh, has it got a dust jacket on? Is that the one with because the dust jacket from the library one has Tom Baker on it, bizarrely, doesn't it? It's not that one, is it?
It's not that one. No.
Yeah.
No. But it does have the dust jacket on, but it's the original one. It's red.
Oh right, I've seen that one.
Yeah, I'll send you a pic. I'll send you a pic.
Please do. Yeah.
So, tell me about Sylvester McCoy.
Well, this is a last-minute story I managed to catch for coming on because I was trying to get a few things together to work out what we could be talking about tonight, and on the news of the day there was a protest in London about it was an anti-Trump protest clearly, and Sylvester McCoy was at the protest, and he's interviewed on camera for I think it's the World Today on BBC News or something like that, and he was out demonstrating, which I thought was hilarious. I have to say, he's 82. Good for him.
Well, it's nice that he gets out, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think generally, whoopie doodle do. It's Scott Andrew Brass. I stole 5 Doctors from the library. Just a bit of a diversion. They're outrageous.
You naughty man, you. Yeah.
And Rick Storm, Sylvester has joined the woke mob. I do get that. I do get that impression. But then again, he's an actor, isn't he? He's a lovey. They are largely of the left, aren't they? They'll, you know, if they're not wearing the Palestinian headscarf or whatever it is, they're putting themselves under a different banner or whatever, which is fine. Everybody's got a right and everything else. I just prefer those days when you didn't necessarily know every actor's politics.
Exactly.
Really.
Yeah. The thing I feel about it, I think this you're allowed to have your own opinion, allowed to protest if you want to, but you know, if you want to get into politics, give up acting and become a politician. Do a Ronald Reagan and do that instead. So
yeah. I mean, you know, I like Sylvester McCoy, and I think the era that he was the Doctor in wasn't easy for the show. You know, the season started and it was over before you knew it. You know, a couple of times a week, midweek, and all that kind of thing, and up against very stiff opposition at the time, obviously with Coronation Street at the height of its powers. So I don't think he had it particularly easy, and I think he did a really good job, all things considered. He brought some mystery back, and I know it wasn't just him. I know it was JNT and Andrew Cartmel and everything else that were bringing all that mystery back and everything else, which was good. And it was a shame it ended where it did. But when they are so clearly on telly protesting about things like this or going overtly political, you can't help losing a little bit of respect for them, I think, which is a shame. John Mason, Sylvester was a bit of an arse both times I met him. Yeah, I mean, when I was at the concert in Wales a couple of years ago now, Sylvester was there, unannounced. He was there, just a few seats down, along from me. And he came back in unaccompanied early after the interval, and he just got mobbed. And he got mobbed at the end as well. He had no sort of like protection, for want of a better term. He had nobody looking after him, nobody handling him, if you like. Because, like you say, guy in his 80s suddenly mobbed by a load of largely odd people as they were there.
I've met him a couple of times
thing.
socially, and he's been perfectly nice. But I think, you know, if people forget sometimes, you know, and they get a bit stressed, you know. So sometimes you can forgive them, but you have to think before you speak. Sometimes, don't you? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Especially of a celebrity, because you know, these people are your fans. You know, they put you where you are, and they're your living. And McCoy said himself, working for a Big Finish is his pension. To give an example of the fans
Well,
paying for his lifestyle. You know, so you have to consider these things sometimes. You know, but
yeah, but then again, it's, you know, I mean, he's not going to lose any work with Big Finish, is he? If he comes out being either anti-Trump or pro-Pally or something like that, he's not going to lose any work from them.
He's going to get promotion, probably. I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that they do, really. So they're not going to criticize him, are they? But Jorax Falcon, not seen that name before, Jorax, but good to have you here. Everybody, please like and subscribe. But actors should just act, leave the politics at home. I completely agree.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they should. You know, I couldn't tell you whether, you know, from growing up, one of the huge staples, TV staples growing up was $6 Million Man, you know, with Lee Majors. I couldn't tell you if Lee Majors was a Republican or a Democrat. I genuinely couldn't tell you. You know, I couldn't tell you if the Bionic Woman, and I cannot remember her name, and I wish I could. I know the character's name, Jamie Summers, but I can't remember.
Lindsay Wagner.
Lindsay Wagner, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
I couldn't tell you if she was a Democrat or a Republican. Tom
She's
Baker.
not a conservative. She's the first Iron Lady, wasn't she? That's just
literally. But you know, Tom Baker, John Pertwee. I couldn't tell you what their politics were, and because they had a certain maturity about them that just kept that separate. You know, I know Tom could be very outspoken, but he wouldn't pin his colours to a particular mast like that. And I think sometimes they've got to be very, very wary that these things can come back and haunt them.
Yeah.
But, you know, what can you do? What can you do? What's that from Legion of James? Trendy protesting ticks boxes for so many people. The unfortunate side of social media, it's disillusioned a lot of fans. Yeah, absolutely. You can't argue with that, can you?
Yeah.
You can't argue with that at all. Yeah. I just wish he hadn't done it, that's all. But at the same time, he has every right to do it.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. We live in a democracy, allegedly, and that's something that should be allowed to do. So we can criticize him, but we have the right to do the same thing if we want to. And that's what living in the UK is meant to be all about. allegedly. So
Yeah, it's you can just do with actors being actors and not necessarily being an actor and activist.
yeah,
You know, it's just please spare us. That they're not in the main. They're in the public eye
yeah,
because they're in the public eye because they're well known for something on telly where they've gone in, they've learned some lines, and they've delivered them in a certain way that people have enjoyed. It doesn't mean that they are an expert political commentator.
no,
It doesn't mean that they're a journalist. It doesn't mean that they're particularly, and sometimes these people come out and make glaringly ignorant statements and just end up looking stupid.
yeah,
But when they do come on telly, it's always, Doctor Who star says this about this or this about that, and you just think, oh, for God's sake, as if the brand isn't damaged enough,
yeah, yeah. I agree what Paul's saying there. I agree what that's interesting that Colin has said that, because Colin's been quite supportive of the current era. But that's interesting. He's against the sexualization of the Doctor as well. 'Cause we're all agree on that one, certainly. Yeah.
Mm,
I don't care
yeah.
whether the Doctor's sex life or preference or whatever. I don't care. I want him to be an alien, which is interesting. I saw an article in recent um, monthly Doctor Who magazine was an interview with Jodie Whittaker, and apparently this is really interesting. Apparently, her character, she was considering why the Doctor was so awkward that the Doctor was neurodivergent, could have been autistic, and it's like I understand that's being like that. That's fine, but that should be a human characteristic for the companion if you're going to go down that road at all, but not for the Doctor because the Doctor's an alien. So why do that? That seems a bit bizarre, really. But anyway.
When you look at William Hartnell in An Earthly Child, he's fundamentally different, isn't he? Just the way he
Mm,
plays it, the way
yeah,
he acts, all the way through that story. The fact that he was quite prepared. He was quite prepared to pick up a rock and dispatch a caveman to make their escape.
yeah,
He was not, your average. He wasn't Ian or Barbara, was he?
yeah,
He was something different,
yeah,
and he didn't need to be labeled with a
yeah,
label that you put
yeah,
on lots of other people around. The Doctor is different.
yeah,
They've seemed to go out of their way more and more and more just to make him like a normal person
yeah,
with
yeah,
or her as a normal person. But
yeah.
then she wasn't a legit doctor anyway, so who
No.
cares what she thinks?
I love the fact that Hartnell in the first few stories is such a nasty piece of work. It really is really interesting, especially the rock as you mentioned, but also sabotaging the TARDIS to go to the Dalek City when it's radioactive is wonderful. And the fact that he really is conning them, there's nothing wrong with it. It's brilliant. It's so different from the way Peter Cushing does it because it's much more playful. But Hartnell does
Yeah.
it with real steel. You know what I mean? It's wonderful. But
Like when Cushing does it, he
it's
looks
like
at Susan.
just a wink. Yes. It's,
Whereas you're right with
yeah,
Hartnell
yeah,
is, and then he confesses in that little room where all those readouts are. He
yeah,
confesses to Ian what he did, and Ian has
yeah,
a real go at him. It's
yeah,
proper characterization there. But yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. In those
And
first few stories, Hartnell is a bit of a twat, isn't he?
he
Really,
is,
or
and
the
and that's
Doctor.
really watchable. It's really interesting. It's really
Mm,
it's obnoxious enough but entertaining in the same breath.
yeah,
And I love the fact that he's got as well when he realizes he's told him and he's got he wants the food like back from me and he's happy just to leave Barbara where she is. Let's go, come on. It's like it's really mean. It's incredible. Yeah,
and of course Ian is the guy that's being the reasonable one. Ian is us, isn't he? In
yeah,
in that
yeah,
respect, Ian is us, as is Barbara, obviously.
yeah,
And they're just not going to abandon, are they? And obviously, he didn't know at that point the Daleks were on the other side of the door. But yeah,
yeah.
Ian didn't want to leave Barbara behind. And of course, Hartnell's doctor was a smoker, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
As well? Which literally was the second episode of An Earthly Child and never mentioned again, was it really?
Well, he obviously gave up. That was it. Bizarrely,
Well, I
though, in
mean,
real life, Hartnell was a smoker. I think Trent was a smoker. Pert was a smoker. I think Tom Baker was a smoker as well
no,
for a
yeah,
time. So,
yeah,
yeah, so it's incredible. But that was the time. Everyone was a smoker in the 60s
yeah.
and 70s, just about, you know. But I
I think
agree
more
with
actively encouraged to do it, weren't they?
yeah. Tony was just saying about the Doctor want to throw Barbara and Ian off the ship in the Edge of Destruction, and that's quite scary as well. That you know
Yeah.
he's going to throw them out into the unknown and they would die, suffocate, whatever. You know, incredible. Yeah, yeah,
And whilst he mellowed, they still had that ability to have real blazing arguments. I mean,
yeah.
when I was listening to, I wished I had it myself, but I didn't. But somebody that we knew had the 45 RPM single that had selected bits from the end of the chase
Of the chase,
on
yeah,
it.
it's wonderful. Yeah, TV
Century
21.
21,
Yeah, yeah,
TV
yeah,
21. Yeah.
yeah,
And I obviously recorded that onto cassette and played it over and over and over. But when Ian and Barbara decide that they want to use the Dalek time machine to get back home, they have an almighty row.
yeah,
You know, it's really full on,
yeah.
and you know, you know, that's proper characterization. You just didn't get that in recent stuff, really.
And he does similar things as well. I think at the end of the censor rights when he threatens to take them off the ship and drop them off the first place to get to when they get to Paris eventually, or France rather, in the Reign of Terror. And the same kind of thing. It's wonderfully kind of he's really angry with them, really annoyed that they've
Yeah,
criticised him, you know. And but he's heartbroken in the chase, isn't he? He really is because
yeah,
he's really
completely.
grown to love them, you know, which as we
Yeah.
all have. Because Being a Barbara are superb, aren't they? But
Well, oh yeah, I really like them. Brilliant characters. But that's the first point then that because he's lost Susan, then he's lost
yeah,
Ian, and he's lost Barbara, and then
yeah,
realizes that now it's literally. I know he's got people there, companions, but he's first time he's properly is the only one there that started it. You know,
yeah, yeah.
Hartnell is on his Todd at that point in that respect. Everybody else is new because Verity Lambert was leaving around that time as well,
Yeah,
wasn't he? So
she
it must have
left
been
around
really
about the chase,
difficult.
the Galaxy 4 time, didn't she? Was heading out. That
That's
was her
it.
last credit, I think, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
So
mean, I really
it
felt
must have
sorry for
been
Hartnell
difficult
during
for
that
him.
because everyone, it was like a revolving door at that point, wasn't it? You had obviously Maureen O'Brien and Peter Purvis, and he got on with them. And then when effectively it seemed like Maureen O'Brien was sacked almost from what by misunderstanding, apparently. She wanted to go, but she didn't want to go. And then you had Katerina, Adrian Hill, Sarah
Yeah.
Kingdom, Jackie Lane. They all left. Even people like Ben and Polly, you know, Michael Craze and Annika, you know, are kind of they kind of get short shrift as well a bit, don't they, from the
Yeah.
production team, you know, and the people are in and out quite quickly until they get to like Jamie and Victoria, then it starts to stabilize a bit more, doesn't it? You know, it's incredible.
And I think they portrayed that really well in Adventure in Time and Space. It was almost like David Bradley playing Hartnell
Yeah,
came across as bewildered with the
yeah,
constant changeover of the regular crew, and it was like one
yeah,
photo call after another photo call,
yeah.
and yeah, yeah, you sort of like really felt for him, didn't you?
Yeah, I agree
It's
with what
quite
Stephen said. Stephen said that that Hartnell was upset that William Russell and Jack Nell were leaving because he liked that security, that familiarity, and he grown with them in the series, and
yeah.
he wanted them to continue for 5 years, as how he envisaged playing the part for 5 years and all that kind of stuff. So
He
you
did,
understand
didn't
why
he?
he was upset, you know. But yeah,
And when you consider that they were working for probably about 46 weeks of the year,
yeah,
virtually in constant production, and they take holidays over a staggered period and things like that. So they'd been doing 46 weeks a year for two
yeah,
years. You'd get to really know somebody and get used to
yeah.
working with somebody at that point, wouldn't you? And
Clearly, William Hartnell has better knees than Shooty Gatwa, though I have to say. But
yes, you see, yeah, when you see Gatwa saying, "Yeah, I was so done in, I was so tired, I was ready to leave, it was
yeah,
exhausting." There was quite a few of his tiny handful of episodes that he wasn't even in,
yeah,
and he's supposed to be a dancer and
yeah,
fit and all the rest, and yet somebody twice his age
yeah.
and
Who
not
was
fit at all.
unwell as well, which is
Yeah,
amazing he managed to do what he did. So I think
Yeah,
Hartnell needs to get more credit than he ever gets, because being superb with the Doctor anyway, but being an ill man as well, as we found out towards the end of his run. I mean, it's amazing we got so much goodness out of him with all those issues involved with his health, and then the tough schedule, everything else. You know, it's amazing we've got such good material from him. You know.
yeah, yeah. And he always gave 100%. I think with
Yeah,
Hartnell,
yeah,
all the way through to the 10th planet. I mean, obviously 3 Doctors, but all the way through to the 10th planet, episode 4. I think,
yeah, yeah,
and it's tragic that that's not here. And you always hold fingers crossed one day it might be, but.
yeah.
It's Lex Kane. He's sent another super chat. Thank you so much, Lex. Your fave Irwin Allen sci-fi show: Time Tunnel, Land of the Giants, Lost in Space, or Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea? I always remember Time Tunnel or Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea being on TV when I would get home from school.
Mhm.
Did Irwin Allen do The Invaders as well, or was that
No,
somebody
that
else?
was someone else. That was someone else.
Right. Okay.
I've got here on my shelves. I have Lost in Space, all of it, and Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea and Land of the Giants. I thought my favorite's probably Lost in Space. I think, but it's hard. Sometimes they kind of merge together a little bit because they're very similar in format.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea is virtually Lost in Space, but underwater, kind of almost. But although it's got the Navy rather than a family, but it's similar monsters turn up, the recycled costumes and stuff like that, which is wonderful.
Irwin Allen.
But he did
Blimey.
what I do like. What he did, he's done lots of movies, and obviously did like I think Tower of Inferno was one of his. But he did lots of sci-fi style movies, and they always had dinosaurs in it. But there were actual lizards, remember? And they would put like things on their back to make them look like dinosaurs, and to make them fight, they would chuck them into frame, and you see them like doing that, scrambling because they've been chucked into the shot by the stagehands. You know, you see them fighting. And I used to love that. It used to make me laugh because they were never really dinosaurs; they were just lizards. You know, it's funny. But
It's a bit like that Thunderbirds episode with the giant alligators that were just those little small ones. Did you ever see
oh
that
yeah,
one?
yeah, 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 yeah. The magic of television that we had.
There was a few, wasn't there? There's Journey to the Center of the Earth as well. With was it Center of the Earth with Professor Challenger? Whose stories were those? Were those?
Was that Jules
I don't
Verne?
know. Might
Or
have been. Might have been. I remember Professor Challenger, and they were making their escape, and they had an egg, and it hatched, and it was just an ordinary lizard, but they announced that it's a T-Rex. I thought that's setting yourself up for problems in a few years' time, isn't it? With a
yeah,
little
yeah.
T-Rex, but it was just an ordinary lizard, and they'd stuck some stuff onto it, like you say.
Yeah, they did that in Lost in Space as well. I think sometimes they've got. I remember Lost in Space. Alex might remember if he's watched it in the black and white. I think series 1 and 2, or certainly series 1's in black and white. But they pick up this alien chimpanzee, and to make it alien, it's got like horns. So it's like a chimpanzee that's wearing some kind of hat that looks like horns. And this chimpanzee, get this off me! Like you kind of, get it off. So the way dogs do if you put clothes on them, sort of thing, and it's like that. And you can see the animal's not enjoying it at all. But they did similar things like that to make them look a bit more alien, which is lovely. Yeah,
Let's have a look. Lorraine Sheridan, Quinn Martin did The Invaders. That's right, a Quinn Martin
yeah,
production. They always
yeah,
said that at the end, didn't they? They did
yeah,
that with the American programs, didn't they? They'd either do that, or do you remember the end of the A-Team where they had the guy on the typewriter do it and then throwing the
yeah,
script up, and it was the
yeah,
logo? But Quinn Martin, that's it.
yeah,
And John Roberts, Irwin Allen was like the American Jerry Anderson. Yeah, he absolutely was.
yeah.
Tony Farrell's TARDIS, James Mason, was that Professor Challenger? That
All right,
sounds
right,
about
yeah,
right. Philip Roy, Irwin Allen, producer of the Poseidon Adventure and the Towering Inferno
yeah,
films.
yeah, yeah.
Darren Apken, Professor Challenger was a Conan Doyle creation. That's it. That's it. Yeah. Wow. They're films from childhood. Definitely. The Lost World with Professor Challenger, set on a remote South American plateau. That's it. And it was an Arthur Conan Doyle novel.
Right, yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic stuff. Fantastic
But I
stuff.
I love anything with dinosaurs in it, or Ray Harryhausen style, sort of stop motion animation for dinosaurs. I love all that kind of stuff. Have you ever? You must have seen it, the original King Kong, and they've got, and even in that, the effects in that for 1920, whatever it is, or 30 rather, is kind of amazing. You know, with Kong itself and some of the dinosaurs that he fights as well. Amazing
Well,
effect for the time.
there's a as well as like a T-Rex style dinosaur. Is there a like a pterodactyl as well?
Yeah, I think
Or have I just
he does
imagined that?
that to it. You know,
Yeah,
it's like, it's like a paper airplane chucks it away like that. Yeah. So
it's almost like a premonition of the aeroplanes at the top of the Empire State Building, isn't it?
yeah,
But
yeah, that's a fantastic sequence as well. It really is. Yeah.
yeah,
And such a
well,
sad story as well, such a sad ending, isn't
it
it? You really
is.
feel sorry for King Kong,
Yeah, because you realise how cruel and unpleasant people can be,
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
And
Have you ever seen? Have you seen the remake? They made a remake in the 70s with Jeff Bridges and forgotten her name, Jessica
just
Lange.
literally what I was trying to remember. That's it, Jessica Lange. Yeah,
And it's a modern update, and they have bizarrely the Twin Towers are in it. 'Cause I think he's on the Twin Towers, certainly in the publicity, which is weird to see it if you see it after what happened in 9/11, which is very sad.
yeah,
But it's interesting seeing that. I've seen old movies when you see the Twin Towers actually in still there, which is really weird, Because I think
yeah.
Spider-Man originally, the first Spider-Man movie when it came out, they had a shot of Spider-Man capturing some criminals between the Twin Towers. And the film was released around at the time of the attack, which terrible stuff, But yeah,
Do you think they would cut that out now? Because I remember there was a Simpsons episode where Homer they were in New York, and Homer was he'd been drinking this foreign drink from a street vendor outside the Twin Towers, and he desperately needed a toilet, and nobody would let him in. And various people in one tower were arguing with people in the other tower,
all right,
and
right.
and you don't tend to see that episode anymore.
No, yeah,
In the same way, there was one where Monty Burns was confessing to some being sensitive about something, and as he said something, a photographer popped up from behind the fence, and he went, "Damn you, paparazzi!" And that was just after Diana had died, so they
all
cut
right,
that out as well. It was
yeah,
just like
yeah,
sometimes being a little oversensitive, I think,
yeah,
to be
yeah.
honest. But they do that, don't they? They like to assume what people would be offended by.
Well,
Really,
that's I saw a quote from John Cleese along the lines of people who um, are complaining about comedy are people with no sense of humor. They have no right to be offended on people's behalf. It's like someone being colorblind and trying to choose a color, but they can't because they're colorblind. You know what I mean? So it's
yeah.
the same kind of thing. So I'm kind of misquoting a little bit, but that the idea of the fact that there's no real judgment to do that is the point you're making, and it should be left to your own devices whether you're offended or not. And if you are
Yeah.
offended, turn it off, switch it over, whatever you're going to do. That's it. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
absolutely right. Yeah, Marie UK, The Simpsons was always predicting the future. Yeah, they
yeah.
they did have quite a few
Well, they
successes,
predicted
didn't
President Trump, didn't they? So that's another one.
they? Did
Yes. Which
when they were
seems a
writing that, they
bit
probably
futuristic
thought,
still. Yeah. So yeah,
yeah, they probably thought, no way that'll ever happen. Let's put
yeah,
it in for a
yeah,
laugh, and,
yeah,
and then there they
yeah,
are.
yeah. They must be Nostradamus must be working for the Simpsons. Probably that's how it works. But yeah.
Quite a few Doctor Who links in The Simpsons as well. Tom Baker's turned up a few times, hasn't he?
Oh, he turns up all the time, doesn't he? It's wonderful. Yeah. What the one that's about when they're in the kind of war office and he comes in and they've got like Krusty the Clown and the Bumblebee Man and he comes in as the Doctor. It's wonderful. Yeah. Yeah.
Esteemed representatives from television.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Great scene. It's like that scene from Doctor Strangelove, isn't it? In the war room, kind of a bit like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it is,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. Great stuff. Yeah.
Right. So what's coming up? What have we got coming up?
What have we got coming up? What in the future for our shows? We're hoping to do a live show next week, aren't we? And if we can, if not, it'll be another recording. But we'll keep that under wraps. What we might do, Unit Part 2, perhaps, or
Yeah,
possibly a
I think
visitation for yourself, or what we're going to.
we've had some lovely comments about the unit one, haven't we?
Yeah,
Which is really appreciated. We like that. You know, so I think we will revisit the other unit one. We
It
won't be
might be a
talking about
shorter
it.
video because it won't be as positive as the first one, I have to say.
We won't be talking about it with as much love and affection, will we?
No,
Really,
no.
I don't
It'll
think.
be a bit of a bitch session, I'd imagine, to be honest. But
Yeah. We've got a few little ideas that
yeah,
we're going to bring together as well, to bridge this gap where we are JT-less, but
yeah,
we are, like we said, we are in touch with JT, and we're keeping in
yeah.
touch with him and everything. So, and hopefully he'll be watching now. In which case,
Yeah, I've been sending him, as you know, he's a big fan of Sooty and Sweep, and I've been sending him silly pictures of Sweep. And I sent one to him recently. It was Sweep in the bath. He's in the sink with a like a shower hat on, and he's having a bath. He's rubber duck. It was wonderful. But the one, and he was immediately made him laugh. So I was really pleased that it cheered him up a little bit. And I sent him another one of him. Made up to look like Braveheart, so it was like Sweep as William Wallace. It was hilarious, wonderful stuff. So I'm glad I made him smile. That's my intention. So hopefully he's enjoying those. What he might
well, fingers
enjoy,
crossed.
because what he might enjoy is I remember we have little things that we have actually bought or purchased. I was very
Yeah.
lucky enough to be given a gift from a friend
Oh,
of mine. This
oh,
fantastic book by Alex Storer, and it's the Blackpool Remembered book, and it's wonderful. I'm a bit late to the party. I know this, I think, was online originally, but this is the printed copy. Some of the photographs are wonderful of
it looks
times
lovely.
gone by in Blackpool from 74 up to when it shut in 85. There's some great pictures of fans and the place itself. And if I show you the back, it's got that lovely uh, street
Oh,
with the entrance and the Dalek and Bessie outside, and then you go further along, you get to the cafe at that end. But that's the model I showed you a couple of weeks ago that
you
I
did.
got from a friend of mine
Yeah.
too. So it's a wonderful link to have this and the model of the TARDIS from the exhibition. This is a lovely piece of work. Um, I say I'm a bit late to the party getting it, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it. So really
I've
good
I've
stuff.
got I've got my eyes on that. I've not got it yet. The thing with purchases, sometimes you've got to bide your time for
Yeah, yeah.
for it to be financially appropriate. But that is something that I would like to have. It looks absolutely gorgeous. I think has been on Who's Views before. I think
He has, yeah,
he's a
yeah.
Dalek expert, isn't he,
Yes,
Alex?
his Dalek book is brilliant as well. Some good stuff, some really good detail in it, and really fascinating. Did he do another as well, like a character optiony type thing as well? I think at some point, I think he may
I
have done.
do not know. I do not know.
Um,
Maybe somebody in the chat can tell us about that one.
yeah,
But I don't know. But yeah, I know he's definitely a bit of a Dalek authority.
mhm, yeah.
Second to none, really. Marie UK, thank you for your super chat. We need to bring back British puppet shows.
Yeah,
I always liked
yeah.
Michael Bentine's Potty Time. I didn't
So
like the
did
big
I. Yeah.
puppets so much. I love the little dioramas where things would happen. There'd be explosions and there'd be like little pops in the sand and things. I
Well, I used to
loved.
love when Michael Bentine would pop up and he's gigantic and the puppets are there and it's all the kind of hair and just the nose that they have. It's wonderful. And they're dressed like pirates or whatever, lighthouse keepers or whatever it happened to be. And it was
Yeah,
wonderful stuff. You should look at them look on YouTube. They're hilarious. And he does all the voices, doesn't he?
yeah.
And I know you're a fan of the goons, aren't you? So I think you get very goon-like voices that he does for some of the characters, which is wonderful. Yeah.
And of course, he was in the first few episodes of the second series of Hancock's Half Hour because
Yeah,
Hancock
he
went
was.
walkabout in France.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Stress got the better of him, and he took off, didn't he? And Seacombe came in for a bit, and they warned Hancock that because Seacombe had been doing really well,
Yeah.
unless he came back for the next show, it would be known as Seacombe's Half Hour going forward. And not surprisingly, Hancock was back and never missed another recording.
That would have woken them up. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But I think Galtman Simpson did an episode, A Visit to Swansea, which has recently been found.
Oh,
It was
really?
a
Wow.
missing episode. Yeah, apart from the first minute and a half, it was found, and they made they made them go back to Swansea to find Harry Seacombe, who was down the mine, because all Welsh people work down the mine.
Of course they do.
And
Yeah. Ask Bedwyr, he'll tell you. So
yes, that's when he gets up from the pit face himself, obviously, because he's in the mine as well. And they had to go because Hancock had to say thank you to Seacombe for doing his show, and everybody through the show was saying how fantastic Seacombe was. So you just think it was Galton and Simpson just rubbing Hancock's nose in it a little bit, I think.
Yeah. he was a kind of how can I put it, a character in life who was quite disturbed and quite, he had demons, didn't he, Hancock? I'm trying to find a good way of putting it.
I think a lot of people like that do, don't they?
Tortured, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah.
I think in some respects, sometimes I think it's what feeds into their genius, but ultimately, in so many occasions, just destroys them. Like Kenneth Williams, wonderful Kenneth Williams. He had his demons, but he was superb. But that's maybe a show for another day, I think.
Yeah. Maybe we should do a Kenneth Williams show or a Hancock show. We'll see what we can do. Yeah.
Well, get George on, because George probably met them all. He certainly seems to have done.
We have to wait till JT comes back to do Kenneth Williams, because he does the impersonations as well, so that would be good. If you have to read extracts from his diaries, he could do the voice perfectly well. That'd be great. Yeah,
that would be fantastic, wouldn't it? I love JT's impersonation of Kenneth Williams. I think they're fantastic. That and Zippy.
Yes, yeah. Well, I don't know. Do they do the Zippy diaries? Maybe that's another show we could do as well. I don't know. Yeah,
I'm not going there.
The mind boggles. No. It really does. Yeah.
Doesn't it just? Yeah. Well, I think we're pretty much to the end of the show tonight, Paul. I think I've already said, but if you aren't subscribed already, can you subscribe? Can you also remember to hit the like button as well? I think YouTube have changed their algorithm, so I'd heard, and it's more tied into the relationship between the number of viewers that you have for a show and the number of likes you get for that show. So the more likes you can get, the better per show. That'd be fantastic. So if you can hit the like button as well, that'd be great. As Paul says, next week we are hoping to have a live show. That partially depends on whether or not I can get back in time from seeing the likes of Mr. Hinchcliffe. Just drop that name in again.
Ian, it's all about commitment. That's all I'm saying. Okay, I'm just saying that now. Okay.
Touche, Cecil. I don't think Paul McGann's going to be there though. But if he is,
say hi to him. Yeah. Tell him he owes me a pint. I'll just say that now. But
so until then. Thank you to everybody for dropping in. It's been great to see you. Thank you everybody for the super chats, and thank you for the comments. The comments, the chat has been going absolutely fantastically, which is great. Thank you to our mods. I saw Kirsty in there as well, which was a surprise because Kirsty is on holiday. So that is definitely a sign of commitment, isn't it? Far more commitment than me, obviously, Paul. So until then, I don't think there's anything left to say apart from it's a good night from me.
And it's a good night from him.
Good night.
Good night.
Oh, you'll be delighted and somewhat surprised to know that you can now own Who's Views merchandise. Yes, a range of mugs, t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, cuddly toys, a cheer please, and other goodies, all putting official Doctor Who merchandise to shame. It's now available from the Who's Views shop. You can find it on the store tab on the channel or by scanning that squiggly thing there.